all. So I want to move on to developing self-worth as a man.
Sure.
There's a quote by Viktor Frankl. He said, when a man can't find a deep sense of meaning, he distracts himself with pleasure. I followed up with, as much as men have been told to have purpose, they've also been socialized into hedonism. Pleasure equals value, motivation, and morality. Chasing a feeling that as long as I look like I matter, people will validate my existence. So you see there's a lot of people that are trapped in a cycle of chasing women, seeking validation, and they've been told and taught that their lives can only get meaning from the pursuit of someone else's validation.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the elephant in the room for a lot of guys, that we aren't taught how to value ourselves outside of like how we're viewed by other people. Like even in our relationships as young men, a lot of it is based on how many girls you get.
Yeah.
Like how much? Like, do you have the latest trainer? Do you have the latest XY? It's all it is like we as men have been conditioned to not see the humanity in each other.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned just to like see each other as like numbers and digits, and like, I don't know, like, oh, this guy has, for example, even like how kids nowadays talk about aura and stuff. Like, from the outside it's silly, but when you actually like really zoom into what they're saying, it's like, okay, how much like invisible respect points does this person have based on their ability to perform as a man?
Yeah.
That's what aura is basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting just seeing how, like, obviously the wording changes for it, but the mentality and the sentiment remains throughout all generations.
The aura, the riz,
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. All it is like based on like your ability to be validated by others. How much do I respect you? Because as a man, a lot of the time it's like you are kind of trained to only respect other men that have things you don't have, or have access to things that you don't have access to yet.
Yeah.
And it just creates like I think it's very intentional as well. Let's be honest, it's very intentional from, the powers that be that have created this society that we live in, for us as men to never feel enough, for us to always want to strive for not even better but more. Because it's not always about better, it's just more. A lot of time it's like
consumerism.
Yeah. And I feel like, of course, like women are affected by that a lot, like with like their consumer buying and stuff. Like they buy a lot of products and stuff. But for men, it's just more about like you start to see yourself as a commodity almost. Like you start to see yourself as like just an extension of a brand, or an extension of
social e-commerce, basically. Yeah.
And when you get down to that sort of path, and you kind of lose track of your humanity, it's very easy to kind of forget, or maybe not even discover who you are and what your purpose is, because you're too busy trying to keep up with the Joneses and try and look cool on Instagram, or try and look appealing to women, or try and get numbers and just do that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of routes that just don't really lead anywhere.
There are a lot of guys, and I know some men personally, that if they haven't gotten the next girl that they're speaking to on the roster, or no one likes them per se in this season of their life, because at the end of the day, right, there's billions of people in this world, right? You cannot walk around and say no one's ever gonna love me. Like, let's call a spade, right? Sure. And even if you have to hold on to that hope anyways, because if you tell yourself it's not gonna happen for me, then damn right it's not gonna happen.
Then you're probably right.
Then you're right, but there are possibilities out there, but there are some guys that are stuck in this cycle where they tell themselves, right, that I need to be speaking to somebody, I need to have someone just to want me, have someone just to love me, I need someone to just make me feel like I belong and that I matter and that my existence means something. You're waiting for them to validate just that you're worth existing. Why do you think that's so dangerous, and what do you advise to someone to get out of that cycle? Like, how does someone come out of that? Because
it's extremely dangerous, simply because you're allowing things outside of your control to dictate how much you love and value yourself, which is always going to be a bad idea. In my opinion, I feel like your sense of self and your sense of value and your sense of worth has to come from yourself. It has to come from you basically doing the things that you care about, you being the type of person that you would respect, being the type of man that you admire, and mirroring that sort of behavior out into the world. And I think people are too focused on being liked than liking themselves, simply because we live in a day and age where like it's the most valuable thing is your attention, and if you're able to get someone else's attention, you're automatically perceived as being more valuable.
Yeah.
But really, it's just a perception.
Yeah.
It's just a perception. Like when it comes down to it, you have to love yourself more than anyone else ever could. And I feel like a lot of men, especially, they don't love themselves, but they love the idea that other people like them.
Okay.
Because a man like to himself, he could like really he could have like low self-esteem.
Okay, sorry, I'm just what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, like from a man on like an individual level, you could have like low self-esteem like in your personal life, be struggling like mentally, whatever. But as long as you turn up to work or turn up to your social gatherings and you're dressed well, you pull up in a nice car or something, people can be like, oh, this guy's doing great, man. Like, and you like people get addicted to that feeling. Perception. That they don't even care what their reality is like, as long as when I show up, people are like, oh yeah, the guy's here. Oh yeah, he's here. Oh yeah, he's so great. People honestly, for some reason, I'm sure it's probably due to maybe people pleasing tendencies or wanting to be admired more than they admire themselves, but they really do get addicted to the feeling of being admired even when they don't really like themselves. And that's something that is very dangerous, because those men that are like that, when they are alone or when they get online, for example, they're going to be extremely dangerous, because those men are extremely insecure. And I feel like those are a lot of the like voices that you hear nowadays. Well, not voices, but the people that you see in comment sections.
Yeah. It's
all those guys that are like, maybe like to the outside world they're okay, but when they're at home, their little insecure little mole self starts to form.
Yeah.
And all the insecurities come out. All those guys. They're the same guys that will
the voices.
Yeah. They'll come up to work and just be like, oh yeah, I'm great. And then when they're at home, they're in their little rat cave, in their little incel, fresh and fit, kind of weird. Those kind of.
Yeah. What is your opinion on those guys, actually?
I despise them with all my soul.
Really?
With all my soul. I feel like, especially like fresh and fit, like Myron especially. Oh goodness, man. Okay. I find him repulsive. Really? Simply because he is someone that, I don't know. He's got that sort of personality where you just know. He just doesn't. He's exactly what we're talking about. He cares more about the perception than the reality. For him, his whole platform is built around what men should do, how men should perform, how men should be viewed. When in reality, like, he doesn't really live by what he preaches, and a lot of these guys don't. A lot of the red pill, pilled guys don't really live by it, because they're trying to live up to a standard that is not realistic for most people. Yeah, like you can't, like, let's be honest, as a human, especially as a man. This idea that you have to be like on job all the time, you have to like never be vulnerable, you can never show your woman how you feel. Like, bro,
it's impossible.
Why do you want men to live lives like robots?
It's impossible.
Literally, it's impossible. And then they preach it, and then they pretend like they're really doing it, and then it's just obvious that you're not.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's just strange.
Like, I in my opinion, I adhere to some of the values.
Sure.
Right. Be strong, work hard, be brave. Provide, lead. Have a level of self-control. Like, I believe in those things. Sure, those tenets, I do believe in those tenets.
Definitely.
The treatment of women, and I'll be honest, some of the concept towards women, I don't necessarily disagree with as well.
Okay.
Women in terms of the hypergamy in their nature.
Sure.
I think it's just a reality, and I don't blame them for that. I think if anybody had the opportunity to be hypergamous, why not? Like, get the best you can get where it's available, right? But I think it's, like you said, it is a lot of people that have not dealt with the harsh realities of life, and they projected their negativity out there. I think there could be a way that some of those beliefs and those values could be delivered in a way that would build rather than polarize men versus women. Because at the end of the day, right, I think at the end of the day, the goal is you want to be with somebody, right? So you walking around believing that you have a target on your back will make you never really trust the person. Yeah. And I know sometimes personal realities can fuel those things, but you have to be hopeful that there is someone out there that God has allowed for it to exist that will be the person that can be what you need, right? But you have to be that person to yourself first. Like, you have to be able to fill your cup. I remember I was reading a book, right, and it was by some information about a guy called Henry David Thoreau, and he said that the mass of men lead lives in quiet desperation, right? And it got me thinking about the conversation I heard from Alain de Botton, which he talks about how that unfortunately we as a generation are better at being in relationships than being in friendships. Okay. So what happens now is that we have these situations whereby men equate their state of being alone with loneliness. And then what happens is that they approach relationships from a sense of desperation. There is an age by which I guess is probably about 12 to 13 years old where men stop receiving a level of intimacy and connection. Their mothers don't hug them as much, their dads don't put them on the knee as much, don't rub their head as much. They are removed from a certain level of intimacy and connection, and the only other time they see intimacy and connection comes from the opposite gender or sexual partner, right? And then they associate in their mind that the only way I can have a level of connection can only come from a romantic space. So we get so good at learning how to get into relationships and being in relationships, but not learning how to foster friendships and relationships that make sure that we have a certain level of love within ourselves, so that wherever woman comes by, they are just the surplus. People that are seeking that level of validation, right? They've been deceived into the idea that the only way they can receive a level of connection and intimacy and love, because not all love needs to be romantic, right? You know, we could be friends here, we're talking now, there's a brotherly love here that makes you realize that there's a way that you treat me that makes you realize that I'm worth being valuable, like I'm worth being valued, I have an importance, I matter. So why would I let someone who comes by now treat me badly? And then what I'm doing is that I'm chasing their validation to try and sort of draw out a level of love from them, which they don't even want to give because they don't perceive me in a certain way. But you accept that because your mindset goes to, where else am I going to get this love from? Where else am I going to be told that I matter and I'm important and that I'm valuable and that I'm worth being treated correctly? You know? So we've gotten so good at being in a space where all we want to do is have the other person, because really and truly we're lacking a level of brotherhood and community and familial love. We're replacing that, and even in my presence as well, even God's love, that when God tells you that you're valuable, right? And then you're taking somebody else's broken version of love and then you're taking that as gospel. I think that's where a lot of men are struggling.
No, for sure. I think the rebuttal to all of that on TikTok would be, but who set up that system?
Yeah.
I always find those kind of like reductionary arguments kind of funny, but it's just like, it's stupid. But anyway, it's interesting because the whole system of like men being unable to really experience love and connection outside of sexual relationship. I think a lot of the time it is quite self-inflicted, but it's like unintentionally. For example, men or like a young man will believe that he has friends and believe that he has good friendships, but without ever putting those friendships to the test, or without ever actually but desiring to strengthen those bonds. A lot of men feel very comfortable having these low maintenance friendships with other men, which I just think are really, really bad. Because I think men, our standards for relationships are just really bad. Yeah. Like we'll be like, oh yeah, like this is my boy. Like I've known him for like 10 years. Oh, like what's his mum's name?
Don't know.
Okay, like like, how many siblings does he have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, like what's his favorite food? Don't know. Oh, okay, but you've known him for 10 years. Yeah, man. Yeah, like that's my closest friend. Okay. Can you tell me anything about him? Oh, he supports Arsenal. It's like, bro, our standards are so bad, and I think a lot of time it's because as men there's a silent like fear of. I personally think this might be controversial. I think there's a fear of being called gay.
No.
I think
no. It's true, right? Yeah. Like male to male bonds, like there's this white line where it's like, I don't want to connect and be too intimate because it's gonna be gay.
I think that's so sad.
I think it's emphasized so much more though in the black community.
Yeah, it is.
I think it exists across male spaces, but I think it's because it's like there is a wall where it's like you're being too friendly, like you're being too nice, you're being too kind.
Absolutely,
like,
and I think especially from London, we were raised with the idea of don't beg it.
Yeah,
don't be a beg.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, I can't be friends with you unless I beg it.
You can't.
I need to be like, hey, what's your name? How you doing?
You have to treat friendships
in order to make a friendship. But it's like, oh, I just need to be like mysterious and somehow we're gonna start talking. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
but again, it's like, when it comes to the black community, I think again that it's kind of linked into, I would say, this hypermasculinity that a lot of black men feel like they have to adhere to, which I think is steeped in probably things like historical things like slavery, things like being an immigrant in a country that isn't your own, where you're very defensive. You have to defend your scraps. You have to fight for the little stuff, so that doesn't allow you to experience the wholeness of being human. Because I have to, just save my nuts for winter time. I gotta do all that kind of stuff. And I think as black men, we need to be more vulnerable with each other.
Okay.
And I think it's starting to happen slowly. There's more spaces where black men are being more open to really express themselves. But I think the norm is still very much like,
you're doing a bit too much.
Just calm down. Just keep it cordial, basics. And I think it's really damaging because it causes a lot of black men when they're older to get in a state where
they have no friends.
They don't have any friends, or they have friends, and all of their friends are like scattered from everywhere. They're just random people they've picked up across the way. There's no real community. And I think community, low key, is the antidote for most of the things that we're struggling with in the world.
100%.
It literally is.
My dad had a stroke last year.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And as he's getting older now, like he's retired now, and all this sort of stuff. And it's weird because I'm looking at him and I'm seeing his life. And my dad's been the sort of like work sort of guy. And he made me a little bit like that, where it's like, if you're not doing something, you're wasting. You're not doing anything. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. There's no such thing as like idle time. So I got into a poor habit of not actively working on my friendships, and understand that sometimes working on friendships is a little bit like dating. You kind of have to approach and be like, hey, like, you seem like a cool guy. Do you want to be friends? Obviously, you don't probably say in that verbatim, but it's that push, right? But now I've seen my dad, and as you're saying about personality, it's pretty much like inherited, right? I've also started to ask myself the question, like, okay, I'm seeing my dad. There's qualities about him that I admire, but there's things about him that I do not want for myself as you get older. And I'm like, okay, one of the things that he did not make time for his friends. He didn't make time for his relationships. Yeah. And as you get older now, you start scouring for these friendships, and build that community. And the other day, it's so interesting. Like, I had, I went to a church event yesterday, and I messaged just like, we've been in similar circles. We've been in similar spaces where we've never really connected that much, but we've always been cool, like, yo, shout at X, Y, and Z. But I was just like, bro, like, what are you doing tomorrow? And he was like, I'm free, bro. Like, and sometimes it's as simple as that. Like, sometimes people are just waiting for you to just be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, let's grab something to eat. Like, what are you on today?
Yeah, it's a lot simpler than a lot, and we think a lot of the time. But again, it's all this self-judgment that we have in our own brains about ourselves. And again, I feel like the more confident you are in yourself, the less you have that. Because I'll be honest, when I was like super depressed and like didn't like myself, there was no way I was.
Like, why would someone want to be my friend?
Yeah, but obviously now like nowadays, when I kind of like myself, I just talk to people all the time now. I'm just like, hey, you right? Because there's no fear that I'm unworthy of interacting with people.
Rejected. I think that's the rejection. People think the rejection is a reflection of their unworthiness, not more like the rejection could just be. They just don't want to be a friend,
and that's okay.
That's okay,
and that is okay. Yeah. I think a lot of time it's like we're unable to live with people not choosing us.
Yeah,
because we take it so personally. We almost think that like someone not choosing us is a reflection that I'm not worth anything. When in reality it's just not. It's like that one individual out of the billions of people didn't choose you, okay,
Yeah.
all right, of course, there's gonna be some people that don't want you. Of course, okay.
Yeah.
There's other people, but I think we have this kind of mentality where it's like once I feel rejected, like I've lost something.
Yeah.
Once I've like once something hasn't gone my way, like I've lost something. Now I need to like protect myself. And I think healing is more about being able to return to base level after a negative experience. And the more that you've kind of worked on yourself, the quicker that process is.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, they think like you're just like supposed to never be affected by anything ever again once you start working on yourself, and you're just like some sort of superhero.
That's not it, yeah.
But what it is that you're able to return to base level quicker than you used to be.
Yeah.
That's all it is, really.
Yeah, that's true.
You just get more reps, and the more you get used to it, the less it affects you. Because it's like, okay, I've done this before. Again, it's like the more proof and evidence you have of doing something, the easier it is to do. Like, that's why I honestly think a lot of things, the solution is just showing up. Because you're building evidence that you're able to do things.
So how do you think that men can like reframe purpose so that it's not centered around external validation or external approval?
Okay. I think purpose is something that's very individual to everyone.
Of course.
So I never want to say this is the one way to do it, but for me, what really worked for me is trying to understand what I lacked as a kid.
Yeah.
And the type of person that I would have needed around me when I was young.
Okay.
Because for me, I didn't really have a very good relationship with my dad. He passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I appreciate it. It's such a weird situation because he was present physically, but just emotionally,
yeah.
So he was physically there, so I knew like I had a dad. But I never experienced what it was like to have like someone like love me as a dad, like love me as like a man. And it's like trying to become that sort of person for myself today, where like I know that young me would love to be around who I am right now. They would feel safe around me. They'd like want to like hear what I have to say. They'd want to, be open to sharing experiences with me. And I've kind of molded myself to become the type of person that I would have needed as a kid. And I think for me, that's kind of what's allowed me to stay really true to myself right now, that I'm constantly trying to understand and unlearn things that were programmed into me. And understanding that I don't have to base my like meaning of my life on like how strangers see me or how this other person sees me. A lot of the time, at the end of the day, like it's literally just you. Like you're just in a room by yourself, and like at the end of the day, like it's just okay. It's me. I'm here. Do I like me? Do I like what I'm doing? Do I like what I stand for? Do I like my values and the person I'm becoming? If the answer is yes, then I'm doing great, and that's okay.
So let's say with the individual who's sat down with themselves, they've had a conversation when they've said, you know what, actually, I don't really like what I see. I don't really like who I am.
Yeah.
How do you reframe that? How do you work around that?
So again, the process is of course awareness. So that sounds like they're aware of where they are right now. They're aware that they want to change. They're aware that they have the potential to change. You now have to kind of grieve the person that you believe that or the person that you have been. I think a lot of time we kind of skip over that process of having to give yourself time to grieve the fact that maybe you're not going to be the person you thought you're going to be. I think that's something I really had to do, because I was always on the path of like just do the right thing, do what mum says, XYZ, and I was like, okay, I can't be the person that like she wants me to be. How does that make me feel? I'm kind of sad about that right now. I'm kind of sad that I feel like I'm letting her down by not doing exactly what she wants me to do. Okay, how am I going to deal with that? A lot of time it's like having these conversations with yourself. For me, I like to journal just because it allows me to get all those thoughts out of my head.
Yeah, I agree. Because
I think when you try and have all these conversations up here, it's too much. So I do definitely recommend journaling. I like to journal my thoughts out and like to reflect on them. Like I have like journals from like 2021, and I read them every now and again. It's just like
I've changed so much.
It's literally like what? But yeah, so you have to obviously be aware of the issue, grieve the fact that you may or may not end up being the person you want to be, and then from then it's like you have to learn to accept the things you can't change. And a lot of the time, that acceptance is very painful, because it's like we all have this idea of who we want to be or who we should be, and sometimes you just have to accept that maybe isn't what I'm destined to be, just because I had some sort of idea that this is the person I should be. Maybe I have to let go of that dream. Maybe I have to, you know, pivot and try something else.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, if you're not happy with the results you're getting, something has to change. Something has to change.
Yeah.
And that change is going to be uncomfortable. And for me, the more uncomfortable that change is, the probably better it's going to be.
It's not flashy.
Honestly, the more uncomfortable that change is, probably the better that change is going to be for you in the long term.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you only change one aspect of yourself, let's say for example, you're someone who like struggles with depression, you also struggle with like substance abuse, XYZ, and your first thing is like, okay, I need to start going to the gym. If your main focus right now is, okay, I'm just going to be someone who goes to the gym, but I'm still going to do all the other stuff, but I'm just going to go to the gym now. Of course, you're going to make some progress, but the change has to be, like, for me, it has to be
drastic.
It has to start drastically, because I think from then you can, like, obviously fail and kind of stumble again. But if you just start really small, just like changing one thing, but I'm still doing all the other shit. For me, it's just like you're gonna probably end up back where you started.
Yeah. Because they're all connected to the same person, right? All those habits are connected.
No, they are. And again, it's all due to your identity. So once you've accepted basically like maybe who you are right now, you now have to, for me, I literally wrote out like, who do I want to be? I wrote it down. I've got it down in one of my journals. Like, okay, what do I care about? What are my values? Who relies on me? Who do I want to rely on me? Like, what do I do for work? What do I do in my spare time? Like, who inspires me? And I think one of the questions I asked myself was, if money and status did not exist, what would I do with my life? And I think that question right there was probably the catalyst for all of this, because I realized, oh, wait a minute, like, a lot of the choices that I've been making have not really come from like a real place. It's just been, I have to decide something. Let me just choose this. I need to do something. Let me just do this. Yeah. Okay, like, let me actually decide, like, who do I want to be at the core of myself? Like, what do I actually care about? At the end of the day, like, what kind of person do I want to be? And these are questions that no one else can answer for you. Because I think a lot of people, they're looking for someone to tell them, do this thing, and then you're sorted. You have to be the one that decides like your journey. You have to be the one that decides your destiny. And if you don't decide that, it's fine for you to go down a route, but you're always going to come back to the point where, oh, like, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to be? At least when you choose something, you can die in that sword and be like, oh well, I chose to do this. So let me just deal with it. But a lot of the time it just comes to being intentional, really choosing the path you want to go down, and then committing fully.
Okay.
Being like, okay, this is the person I want to be now. From today, this is how I view myself. Yeah. And once you view yourself like that, now every day is a challenge. What actions do I need to do to prove to myself that I am this person that I wrote down here? Like, for example, what would I have to do today to prove to myself that I am someone that cares about my mental health, that cares about my physical health, that cares about my family, that cares about my friends? Okay, what would that person do? Okay, I'll probably work out. I'll probably go for a walk in the morning. I'll probably go pray in the morning. I'll probably go stretch. I'll probably do this. Okay. The more you repeat these things, it now becomes part of you. And now you can't even like know what life feels like without these things. Because right now I'm at a point where like I've just done boring stuff so often that it's not boring to me anymore. Like I wake up, I stretch, I go for a walk. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. My old self is like, oh, boring, like grandpa. But I love it. Like, I need it, if anything. Like, I feel like my life would be weird without like my routines.
But yeah, and I just want to, as we're closing up, I kind of want to ask you a question, right? If all your books, your posts, your tweets, your social media, everything disappeared, what is one message you'd want to leave the world?
Wow. Let me think for a second, actually. Let me give you an actual response. Let me think. It's one thing I want to leave the world. Wow. I've got a couple of things on my mind, but I'll just go with this one, which is like the catchphrase that I've had for a while, which is turn your pain into purpose. Simple as that. I feel like if you're able to experience this life, experience all the good and bad that comes with it, and you're able to use the things that you go through as lessons to actually power you and to get you, through the day even, or to get you to find a real meaning for all of this. We're literally on a rock right now, like in space. Like, you need to find a reason to wake up every morning, to really find something to do with your life. And I feel like a lot of the time that comes from learning things from the pain you go through, because we all go through pain, but it's very important to understand what role that pain plays in your life. And for me, the biggest role it could possibly play is to find purpose in that pain. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Fantastic, bro. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
I've been your host, Moses, aka King Shay, and you have been tuning into the King Speech podcast, the podcast where we have speech that leaves an inheritance and conversations that create agents of change. If you've enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, leave a comment in the section as well, but most importantly also share as well. The goal is we want to take this podcast as far as possible to reach as many people as possible. So the smallest contribution you can give, which is just a like and a subscribe and a share, that helps the algorithm, helps us to reach those people. So again, thank you for your time, and I hope you join me on the next episode.
Oh yeah. Awesome.